Hey, welcome to this Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts gameplay video. If you love the history of naval warfare when castles of steel ruled the waves, then don't miss a minute of what's coming up. Hey, welcome. It's time to play some Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. And today, I've been thinking about a comment I got from one of the viewers wanting to know, well, why did you do this? Why did you go bow on to your opponent when it cut your firepower in half? And I said, well, because it meant I survived. And then it struck me. I've been trying to think of something to do that would be interesting. What do you say we try a very simple scenario today in the custom battle builder with a couple of pre-dreadnoughts? I'm thinking Mediterranean French versus the British because, well, I've got a French build that I can put together in short order. And we try two different runs at each other and show the difference between the results. If I try to do what I've been doing, which is close the range and torpedo somebody, or if we stand off at range and exchange shots. Now, this is situational, all right, and you can't. And the worst part about this is that no matter how I play it, I can't have a repeatable test. So there's going to be a lot of variance in what the other guy is, but it ought to show some interesting differences in why I've been adjusting my play the way I have been, given the state of the game. Now, another caveat here, or maybe the first one. I don't know if I've been, whatever. I have no particular knowledge about this. This is not my area of expertise. I'm a retired electrical engineer and a 50-year war gamer, but you get right down to it. What I know about warship design is what I've read in a couple of books and playing with games like this. So that means nothing. But I am trying to understand how this particular game works and what works in this particular game. So that's kind of the idea, I think. So we're going to set this up, and we're going to set ourselves up pretty close in. If I probably already, oh, no wonder I can't find it, dummy. No, that's the same, right colors, but the stripes are wrong. There we go. And there's some British in here somewhere. And let's set this up to, I don't know, 1899. I may have to mess with this a little bit, guys, quite honestly. And let's step out to about 12,000 meters, so there'll be some relatively long range shooting. Let's get rid of all these distractions of this, that, and the other. And I may need to unlock this to get the hull I'm thinking of to build the battleship I'm thinking of. I think it's a Charlemagne, I think. I could be wrong. But when I get back here in a few minutes, we'll have her and we'll talk about her, and then we'll go play against this British battleship and just mess with it and watch the difference in results. And maybe it'll be exciting and interesting, and maybe it won't. But before we do, hey, you know the drill. It's got the YouTube ritual here. I build the videos, and if you like them, you subscribe, like, share, and comment. That's pretty easy. If you like the videos, subscribe, like, share, and comment. That's easy. And I'll keep building them, and maybe I'll get better and you'll like them better. I don't know. We'll see. And finally, if you're one of the people who are rabid fans, and I know there's got to be at least, 0.1 rabid fan out there somewhere, and you just can't stand it, you want to show me some real love, well, look, I love coffee. You can buy me a cup of coffee. The link is in the description. All right, I'm going to get my machine set up and get the right stuff opened up so I can build this ship. And then we'll be back in a minute where they're all built, and we're going to take two, hopefully, quick runs to see the difference between a standoff fight and a close-in knife fight. Back in just a moment. Well, okay, here she is. Now, honestly, this hull doesn't really look right. It ought to have more tumble home. but it's the one that I found that I could get the secondaries and the casemate guns and everything right. And strangely enough, actually came out with a fairly balanced design, only a 4-weight offset of 2.1%, which in this pre-dreadnought period, it just seems to be very difficult to get that balanced. Now, she's also severely overweight. Golly, couple of thousand tons, 2,500 tons. I don't know what to do about that exactly. At this stage of the development of the game, you got to work with the hulls that you have available and with the weights of everything that they have. I try to shoot for a relatively good weight number. It's one of the design parameters when I get in here. But sometimes you just got to live with the fact that you can't do it. Honestly, I don't know if we ever will be able to build perfectly accurate, or that's probably a ridiculous standard, reasonably accurate historical ships. I don't know. I don't really care, but just throwing it out there. So let's go over her real quick. I got her at 18 knots, which I think is about right. I left the range at medium. She's a French. She can make it short. Doesn't matter. None of this matters. Bulkheads standard. All right, just didn't mess with it. Not trying to make her particularly well protected. Uh, her engineering plant is her engineering plant. It's not too exciting. She did have Harvey armor. She did have barbettes, so I gave her barbette 1. Gave her a little anti-torpedo single hull. I don't know whether she had a multiple hull. The little source I'm working with doesn't talk about it. I'm sure there are sources out there that have more information than I have at hand. Standard bulkheads. I gave her some anti-flood. She did have transverse bulkheads and stuff for protection. So I will give her a basic citadel. I didn't mess with any of this. I went with ballistite explosives for fun. I don't know. She did have like 17.7-inch torpedo tubes. I've given her to her. I've given her a stereoscopic rangefinder. These numbers are pretty close to what I'm finding, although I find this a little bit odd. It's one of these things where they say, yeah, she only had 55 millimeters of armor plate for her casemates, but she had 150 millimeter transverse bulkheads. So if I'm reading it right, uh, these they weren't too worried about protecting them externally, but they wanted a lot of protection for adjacent compartments if it got hit and blown up, I guess. Or maybe I read that wrong, but who cares? The rest of the stuff looks pretty good. She's really pretty well protected. It'd be nice if she had, Krupp armor, but there you go. It's pretty heavy armor. And again, reading details about, well, her armor belt was a little low and it's outside the scope of this design tool we have here to simulate that. I got the towers that would fit. They're actually better towers, I believe. Well, maybe not. I gave her the towers that look right and the funnels that look right that give her 100% engine efficiency. And she is armed, at least in terms of numbers and generally the layout, I think, pretty consistent with reality. Two 12-inch, 2x2 12-inch guns, 10 6-inch guns, 8 4-inch guns, and 4 underwater torpedoes in the broadside. I think she also had some ridiculous number of 47 millimeter Hotchkiss guns. We can't we can't simulate that here. So she's all ready to go. We could get out there and take a run at this British battleship. And I think for the first pass, and we may not try to take this to any conclusion if it doesn't happen in a reasonable amount of time, but we'll get out there and close to a reasonable range, turn broadside, and just start slugging it out. And if it works out like it did earlier today, I'll run into a British battleship with 13-inch guns and superior armor and superior fire control, and I'll get my brains beat out. We start getting our brains beat out, we'll refight the battle, and I'll see if I can charge in. I don't know how it's going to happen. Between my own screw ups, lack of skill, um, and the random number gods. Who can say? But it'll be fun to play with. So let's go. And I get real quiet because I'm waiting for it to load. Flash, flash, flash. Click to continue. I don't remember where I set this up. I think 12,000 yards. Yeah, look, we are in the fight now already. All right, let's take a quick look. Man, she is bearing straight down on us. Okay, I'm okay with that. Now, not really straight down on us, and I have a suspicion that she will turn to starboard, which makes me want to turn and go this way too. So let's take a guess. If I guess wrong, you'll have to forgive me. And let's get it on here. Oh, well, by turning away, I've managed to lose track of her, but that won't last long. I'm interfacing myself to death here. Pick up the pace. Watch me get all the way around here, and then she turns out to go that way, and I'll end up running in circles, and it'll just be silly. I should have broken. I should have just turned to. Should have just turned to port. That's all right. That's all right. I forgive myself. I'm a unique and special flower, and I forgive myself. Gosh, it's so touching, isn't it? There we go. There we go. Meanwhile, while we're being this touching, let's get after banging each other. Well, she's already got a 2% chance to hit. Watch this turn into me slaughtering a British battleship at range. Now what's he going to do? He really is turning just exactly the opposite way I would have him turn. We're going to march past each other shooting. Well, I've danced enough. We're at 8.6 kilometers, which is, for the period, quite a long ways off. And we don't know what we're fighting except that it's British and it's shooting at us. And our crossing speed is crazy. I mean, we're up to 18 knots now, so let's cut the speed down a bit, get our accuracy up. And she's perfectly happy to just march past me like this. Somebody's gonna have to get froggy and turn. We're up to 4.5% chance to hit. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised at the let's oh, we can just see our opponent on the horizon there. Alright, get the selections done. Very pretty. Very pretty, if I do say so myself, and there's nobody else here to say. So I must be the guy who gets to say it. Yeah, get set up and do the F11 screenshot. Those of you who've watched before, you know I'm kind of a frustrated photographer, and I really enjoy setting up screenshots. Well, we got a hit of some type, 12-inch hit. Mid-deck over penetration. Look how we set her on fire. Watch it work out that I beat her brains out. I tried this earlier today against the British ship I was going up against. Couldn't hit her for squat, and she was holing me at the waterline like mad, so I charged her. and torpedo her and took care of that problem. Alright, we've taken an 8-inch hit. She's got 8-inch secondaries? Ah, we know now. Exmouth. 13-inch guns, 10-inch. Oh my god. Look at the secondary battery on that thing. I shouldn't say secondary. That's the side-mounted main gun, mixed main gun batteries. We are seriously outgunned here. I guess that should happy me up. That ought to demonstrate why I don't like, generally have been finding myself charging guys rather than showing a broadside and giving them maximum penetration ability against my flanks. She's only got 12 inches of armor though, so, you know, and we seem to be ringing her chimes, and we got a much higher chance to hit. So, I don't know. We're going to have to kind of turn around here. Going to have to kind of curve a little bit. Keep this going. She's down to 15 knots. So we're down to 13 and a half because of that turn. Thump, 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 thump. Well, you know, as I think about this, even if I blow her out of the water, it ought to demonstrate what I've been seeing, which is showing flanks to an opponent who has the ability to punch your armor, punch through your belt, is not wise, and perhaps you should do something else. I'm not sure I'm making any sense. Whoa! Alright, let's take a look at that. Bow deck extended. That's why she's on fire. We banged her up here somewhere. 170. That was brutal. Brutal. Okay, maybe I'm not going to get to make any point at all except, hey, watch what happens when you shoot like this and watch what happens when you charge like that. Your mileage may vary, depends on what the AI brings. I don't know. I do like the name though, Exmouth. I like that name. Alright, we'll turn a bit. Down to 6.2 kilometers. We've got a 6.6% chance to hit. Yeah, we're likely to win this just because of the advantage in I mean, our 6 inchers have got a much higher chance to hit than she does. So they, I'm just, you know, I wish I could control my opposition so we could have a real experiment. Really, it makes sense right now to maintain this range and let our superior fire control hopefully take her down before her superior firepower wears us out. Kind of hard to say how that's going to break, isn't it? She's hitting us, but we've hurt her a bunch more than she's hurt us. She has torpedoes. We're outside of their range. I wonder. God, she's only got a 1.6 kilometer torpedo range. We may not have much better. No, 3.1 kilometers, almost twice the torpedo range. That's not what we're after here. It's not the droids we are looking for. I wonder if I can get a cool... Why isn't the sun on the other side, man? Why isn't the sun on the other side? F11. Like I said, frustrated photographer. Dink. 6-inch hit. Didn't impress us. No, that would be them. They got 8-inch hit that didn't impress us. 10-inchers just don't seem to be scoring a lot of more hits. Watch, I say that and then we'll get smashed by a 10-incher. So far, this fight has clearly gone in our favor. This is a situation where she needs to rapidly close with us. I think, anyway. And she's got bow torpedo tubes. Bow and stern torpedo tubes. If I were her, I would be turning straight toward, aiming somewhere out there, looking to try to get a torpedo into me before I can take advantage of this significant advantage in fire control. Another way to say it, before the random number gods play favorites, which can still happen either way. She's got 14.3 knots. Yeah, I've got it slowed down a bunch. Let's go. But here we are, just counter-marching, just circling each other. Trying to wear each other down, which is so far a losing fight for her because her armor is not as much as it could be. Now, she's gotten a piece of us, though. Funnel hits. That wasn't much of a hit. So far, we have gotten 4 penetrations, 4 over penetrations, 4 partial penetrations, and 26 blocked. I don't know if we can see the same for her. I don't think so. See, her 10-inch guns are still in the midst of aiming. That's interesting. I can't explain that. It might have something to do with how they're positioned on the ship. Or, oh, beats me. I don't have any special insight into the design parameters. Yeah, that hurt. And it sounded mean too. Come on, get her. Come on. Yep, that took 8. Her 8-inchers are doing more damage to us than our main battery, which is good because those 13-inchers would sting. So far, although I think it's fair to say that we're winning this fight, it's, just a slow attrition fight until somebody scores a telling blow, ammo detonation or a real waterline penetration that causes significant flooding, which could happen to either of us. It's just circling. We're just circling each other. Thump, 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 thump. I really was thinking of getting myself in a position like the Exmouth is in. Losing the attrition fight at range and slow down a little bit. See if I can improve our chance. And we're up to a 10% chance to hit because we've closed to 4.7 kilometers. We're spiraling in on each other. That's scary because those 13-inch guns have got a significant chance to hit now, and they will sting. We just can't seem to get a piece of her. There we go. That hurt. But they only got partial penetrations. That was a good penetration. I also don't know what kind of explosive she's using. I don't know. We're just circling around doing this. And of course, this is also a very sterile and weird situation where two capital ships unescorted. You don't have to worry about anything but focusing on each other. And that is kind of odd. That's what sandbox games are for, and that's what this is. It's just a big naval sandbox. I wonder what would happen if I do something like this. Let's come around. Now at this point, while we're turning, we're going to lose a lot of... Oh, good hit. We're going to lose a lot of ability to hurt her because the guns can't, you know, turrets are swinging around trying to stay on target. But the angle of this armor to her gunfire, the angle of incidence, increases its effectiveness. Although we just got hammered pretty bloody good. Alright, we opened the range a little bit because of that. But at least now we won't be marching past each other. And I wonder if we'll get a better chance to hit now without the crossing. Yeah, she is hurt. Really? Oh, goodness. She's gotten worn down at range. She really should have charged. She should have closed me. Protected her flanks as best she could. She'd have taken some licks. And the truth is, she could have gotten creamed. I mean, you take penetrations at the bow and you start to flood. It's ugly. Oh, look, she's done good, though. She's pumped herself dry. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. Up. That was a 124 seat. 13-inch hit bow deck extended partial penetration 3.8. 12-inch bow extended penetration. He got a partial. I got a full 124. That's fire superiority. Now, I don't know if that's random number god or, you know, that I designed a brilliant ship. The other thing I've done is I've exposed the side of the ship that isn't as damaged as the other side. That might have something to do with what's going on. Meanwhile, she, get on her, has been taking a pounding on this flank right from the start. Let's see. And wow. Is that an ammo detonation? I don't know. Kind of looked like one. She's still in the fight. Alright. It's just bang, bang, bang. Ouch. That wasn't good. We took some significant flooding. That was rugged. Now, can we pump her dry, or are we going to lose this fight? It's starting to look like we may lose it. Took some bad damage there, although we seem to be controlling the flooding. Except it's back. damage. Yeah, she's winning this one. Turned it around. Down to Charlemagne goes, huh? There you go. Awesome. All right, let's. Do I restart the battle or do I? Well, I screwed that up. How did that happen? Close. Yeah, we'll retry the same battle. Otherwise, okay, we're not going to change anything on this old gal. We're probably going to end up with a different opponent this time because I think I slipped on the mouse. All right, but we're going to play entirely different. Off to the north. Let's go. Now, again, not claiming any particular expertise, knowledge, nothing. And since you can't really control the circumstances here, I'm reluctant to say this is a smart way to play. This is, you just kind of got to feel it. Okay. She's a different animal entirely. Much closer in layout to what we have. She's turning to starboard. So we're going to get our bow around and try to keep an angle here so that hopefully she'll hit us in the flank. We've already got a piece of her with something. Hopefully she'll hit us in the flank, but that angle of incidence, that increased angle of incidence, will help shed her shots. And then we're going to try to close up and torpedo her. Probably something that makes a lot more sense with a... and we're down to 4 kilometers. Makes a whole lot more sense with a lighter ship. What you ought to be doing with your light cruisers or something. Wow, we closed each other rapidly. Alright, we've got her figured out now. Glory, what a great name. But she's underarmed. 11-inch guns, 7-inch guns, and not a lot of armor. The truth is, I should be able to beat her up. Should have been able to beat the other one up. But the random number gods chose otherwise. She's in torpedo range now, but I want to close it up. I want to close it up. I want to keep this angle of incidence so any hits on my belt are better, give me better protection. Keep turning, keep turning. Stop. And she doesn't have torpedo tubes, so I can be brazen. Absolutely brazen here. She's making 19 knots, almost 20. And I think it's time to bring the bow around, get the torpedoes in the game. Here's maximum exposure for my my armor belt. Torpedoes are away. Will she buy the farm? I don't know, but I want to get a shot of this. Hey, and the sun's even good for me right now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. You must forgive me. Screenshot. That is so cool. And go. Oh, I got a bad feeling those torpedoes may miss. No, we're going to get her. With both of them. Now, where do we go from here? he says. I think we turn back into her. And it doesn't matter, she's done. And that's another way to play it. Okay, well, this run 30-something minutes now, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm not sure that I proved anything. But the question from a loyal viewer, whose name evades me right now, forgive me, I know you're watching, but I am a septuagenarian. God, that's a big word. And I'm lucky to remember that those things on the end of my legs are my feet. But the question, why did you do that? Why did you give up the firepower? I think I just answered it in a very brutal way. One fight went on for 20-something minutes, and this fight didn't take any time at all. Just took my licks, charged in, got the torpedoes in, and down she went. Now, your mileage may vary. The AI could have designed a ship with much heavier armament, with torpedoes in its broadside, which happened to me this morning. I did the same thing. I had the same kind of setup here. I charged in, got my torpedoes off, and his torpedoes missed by the narrowest of margins, and I had to just slam the helm over and turn into his path, almost collision type stuff, to avoid his torpedoes, and then mine struck home, down he went, and I'm still here. Is this historical? I don't know. You know, again, this is not an area of expertise. You want to learn how to build an overhead electric line? I still remember a lot of that. I might be able to tell you some things from the basis of somebody with a lot of experience. Building ships? I actually have a friend who's a naval architect. I don't know if he's still working or not. He knows about building ships. Me, I just play games. But I wanted to see, and I wanted to demonstrate, for the benefit of that one very faithful and interesting viewer, and for anybody else who wanted to see, why I end up playing some of these games the way I end up playing them. And there we go. Hey, as always, I do appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Hey, thanks for watching. If you click on that picture of very young Waz, you'll be subscribed so you'll never miss another video. Then click on that bell notification button, and please share and comment. See you again soon.